So, Delhi Crime won International MI Award, which was the first for India, and it made everyone proud, especially you and your team. So, do you want to tell everyone how you felt and, getting the award for the series, and which is so intense, and, everyone in India connects to that series?
Um, well, it was like, I mean, obviously I felt ecstatic and I was proud and over the moon and I was screaming and dancing and jumping with joy. But we've got to be very, very careful when we link these two lines
Yes,
together.
that is what
It
I was
won
saying.
an Emmy because it spoke about this case. It's a very, very
Yes,
sensitive,
everyone is connected.
yeah, and it's not fair. It's a very sensitive topic. When you're doing something on real life, there comes great responsibility.
Yes,
So it won an Emmy because creatively, as a piece of art, it was so good.
yes,
It didn't win an Emmy on on the basis of someone's pain.
yes.
There is a difference between that. And we're so glad that it did win an Emmy. We put in our heart and soul. And what I love the most is we stayed true to the story. We did not.
Not come to by show.
We did not treat it in any way where it would just become a matter of what is a word where you're just trying to
Commercialize everything. And make
commercialize it or
over
use it to your
dramatic.
benefit
Yes.
or
It was very grounded and
it was very grounded, it was
related
very,
to
very
reality.
true, it was very, very honest, and it was done with the consent and
Okay.
um, thought of everyone involved in the actual incident. It wasn't just let's go
Because
have
it
fun
can
with
touch
this because
lives and
it can
break lives
completely
also.
and it can be extremely uh, okay, I've forgotten the word. Nice. Totally forgotten the word. But yeah, you get me.
Extract and you just exploit. Yes, maybe.
Was some other word. Okay, I'll come to it.
Okay. So all your books are on political background, Priyam. Any particular reason that you write particularly on this?
On politics, I think politics is everywhere. It's everywhere around us. Um, and more importantly, I feel that young people need to get involved in politics. If you don't get involved, you have no right to complain. Um, and if you're voting in this country,
Then you have to.
you have to get involved, be it at a grassroots level, be it in a, contribute in the thought processes and the ideology of the nation. But if you're a young person, you have to get involved. So there's politics everywhere. And I think the only way to show that is to demonstrate.
You've done it beautifully,
Thank you.
making people understand. Coming to you, Armi. Why you chose Ramayana post Mahabharat? Because generally people would prefer to tell the story of Ramayana, which is somewhat simpler than, deciphering Mahabharat. Now, why unraveling Mahabharat first and then Ramayana?
Um, Thank you, Swatima, for asking this question. Because at the end of the day, I'm product of the same system that everybody's a part of. Yeah, my understanding of the epics was as it is for most people. And even today, when I go out and I speak to a lot of youngsters, they'll say, "Ma'am, Shri Ram ke saath connect nahi kar pate. Very idealistic. Cannot live like him in today's world. Yeah, cannot connect. Krishna, on the other hand, is fun. Can be like him. Jhol karte hain. Yeah. To be very honest, my understanding was no different. Mahabharat was a lot more exciting. Yeah, lots was going on. That's what I thought. I mean, of course, Mahabharat was like that. But then when I read the Mahabharat and I realized that what I knew was actually so different from actually what the story is trying to tell us. And there is a reason the story is told in a certain way. No worries. So then I said, chalo, this really needs me to actually understand Ramayana also for what it is. And today, if I have to, if I have to judge my work, I would say Mahabharata Unraveled is probably a better, it's come out better, but on the other hand, I would also say the whole understanding of Sri Ram's personality, unfortunately, is so different from what he is in Valmiki Ramayana. He is so much more relatable, actually a lot more than even Krishna. Yeah? He's so much more like us. He has feelings. He expresses. He's romantic. He cries. Yeah? In spite of all that, when it comes to taking a decision, he knows where he stands. He doesn't forget what his position is at any point in time, whether he has to think as a Raja or he has to think as a husband. That is the learning that both our epics give us. And I mean, as I said, I was not thinking about writing. I was a lot more fascinated by Mahabharata, hence I started with that. But today I would say that, yeah, there is a reason Ramayana has lasted for so long and why it moves people for so long. And I would say, you know, it's very easy to judge these characters, but it's very, very difficult to be them. To understand them for what they are, we need to know the itihas for what it is. So, yeah.
Yes, perfect, I think. So I'll do this for 5 minutes and then we'll go for Q&A. So the most important question is coming up here. Shefali, you're a self-made woman. Some of us have come from empowered background, thus we are able to break the barriers easily. But there are many who are not that empowered. So what are some traits that you would, suggest that people should have or girls should have so that, they can overcome these barriers, overcome the hurdles that are there? The
Hi.
message for everyone. Yes.
Hi. Still here? Great. I don't want to give a message to the women. I want to give a message to all you wonderful guys here. You know, when I say that our women will be empowered, I used to say this all the time when I did Delhi Crime. Our women, daughters will be safe when our sons are raised right.
Yes, that's perfect.
And that, thank you. I'm going to patent that line. But, and it puts equal responsibility on all these women out here because you're going to raise the next generation. So whatever you've gone through, you've got to remember it and not repeat the same cycle again. Also, it sounds very nice to say I'm a self-made woman. Nobody's a self-made person.
Without the support,
It's
then-
not
Yes.
possible. It can only happen when everyone works together towards it. Whether it's your family, whether it's your team, whether it's your colleagues, your co-workers, and I think that's extremely, extremely important. So I'm sure a lot of you understand it, and you all will once you all go into a field where you all are working with people. A lot of times, people want to just prove that I am the best. But you are the best if your team is the best. So every time someone grows, it's your growth as well. Instead of just playing on the thin line of envy, oh, you know what, I'm going to be better than XYZ. Why? We can be better together. Yeah, I know this from personal experience because of the field I work in. Actors can be very vain. They have this thing of I, me, myself. They really feel कि हर frame में मुझे दिखना चाहिए. अरे क्यों दिखना चाहिए? मतलब you're as good as what you're doing with your team. Without that, if the film, the project, every single person, the spot dada who gives you chai, the sound dada who makes sure there's no noise for a kilometer from the set. I mean, if everyone doesn't work together, you're not going to be able to create what we do. So I genuinely feel it's always going to be about a team, whether it's a family, whether it's colleagues, whether it's friends, whether it's work partners, and I think that that's great because we do derive strength from each other.
So I think you've perfectly put in that. And now I'll open the house for Q&A. The house is open. If you have any questions, you can ask the panelists. They know everything. Give the mic.
Can someone give her the mic?
Good afternoon, everyone, and especially to the panelists who have conducted such a beautiful session today for us. And especially to Shefali ma'am, congratulations on your great work on Delhi crime. And my question actually kind of was answered, but I'd still like to repeat kind of to each and everyone. All of us, like, you know, when we look up to our mentors and when we generally ask who your mentor is, I want to ask a very specific which women in your life really impacted how the way you work, the way you've led your life. Because as you said, you can never be a self-made woman. There are always people supporting you. So who, according to you, for your personal experiences, gave that empowerment to you? Your mother, your grandmother, anyone?
Well, obviously, your mother being your first role model, and your grandmother. My grandmother used to live with me, with us. Obviously, that. But you know, it's very difficult to pinpoint because you don't know what. It's not tangible. You can't quantify it because I don't know what I'm going to take back from here, and there will be something that will inspire me. You know, from what I've heard from Ami, what I've heard from Priyam, what I've heard from Swati, from all of you. I am going to take back. So it's very, very difficult to pinpoint and say X, Y, Z. At least for me, it's very difficult to say that.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so
Welcome.
much. Anybody?
Uh, Hello, mems. Just like the recent film of Shefali ma'am, Darlings. I would like to ask my question to Shefali ma'am. Um, I've seen Delhi Crime, and I mean, I would like to praise the work you have done in Delhi Crime. It's
Thank you.
I mean, I was so moved. I was into, I mean, I got tears are rolling from my eyes. I got goosebumps. I mean, it was so moving. I really liked it, and I want to know the kind of, you know, journey that you have gone through in order to prepare for the role. I mean, this role, Delhi Crimes. Yep.
Well, so when Rishi Mehta, the director, we're talking about Delhi Crime 1, when he met me, in less than 5 minutes, I said yes. He did not narrate the script to me. He gave me the script. He told me what it was about. Now, I think maybe a lot of journos or the media probably knew the inside story. I did not. When the Nirbhaya case happened, there was a cry for justice. There was a need and calling for justice. We all asked the same question: why is someone not doing something about this? When I heard this story from Chaya ma'am's perspective, I realized there was someone who did something about it. She cracked it in 5 days. She caught all the culprits, and she was a woman. And even when I say this, I get goosebumps today. And it was like, I have to be a part of it. It was a strange coming of circle. And we had a solid blueprint. I mean, Rishi had done research for like, I don't know what, 6 years, 4 years. So he had a solid blueprint. He had spoken to everyone individually, gotten their perspective. I did meet Chaya ma'am very briefly. I met her for a coffee, and you can't really grasp or encompass a person in 2 hours. But I just wanted to know the thought that was going through her head while this whole case happened, her relationships with people, her thought process generally about a lot of stuff. Like, you know, I'm asked this question a lot of times, that isn't Madam Sir a strange, misogynistic way of putting it? And I remember Chaya ma'am saying this, and I believe it: I don't care what you call me, just do the job. You know, it's honestly like that. And it's only coming out of respect. You may not know how to articulate it. So all these small, small things. And then, of course, she had to become her own person. So it was a constant, and I mean constant. I chew my director's brains off. Like, they are horrified when they see me because they're like, oh God, she's going to come back with more questions. I ask a lot of questions. I have a lot of doubts. I have a lot of conversations with my directors. And it's not a process that I can put down. Well, I hope so, because it would be really strange after I've done all the work on the script and then it doesn't translate. It would be really silly.
Thank you, ma'am.
So my question is to Ami ma'am. Ma'am, I saw your podcast with Beer Biceps, and there was a part where you spoke about an ideal person, where you compared Lord Ram and Lord Krishna. So according to you, if you had to choose one, in which way should a person live? Like Krishna, who is like not that expressive, and he does not, take a break, or he does not stop when there's a bad thing that happens to him, or like Lord Ram, who is like he'll stop, he'll express himself, and then he'll move forward.
You know, we respond to situations according to our svabhava. And the svabhava is what it is, right? So we should just be natural the way we are. One could be Krishna, one could be Ram. But the focus was dharma, right? And what is dharma? It is not religion. Anybody, definition of dharma? Yes?
आई एम नॉट श्योर बट इट्स लाइक अपने कर्तव्य का पालन करना
Okay.
वही धर्म होता है.
ठीक है. I'll say it, the Sanskrit definition is dharayati iti dharma. Dharanat dharmiti ahu dharmo dharayati praja. Yahasyat dharana sayuktam sah dharma iti nishchayah. Because वो धारण करता है. धारण करना मतलब क्या? To uphold and to sustain. To sustain what? What does it sustain? The society. The overarching sustainability principle that allows a society to survive and thrive, that is dharma. We talk about sustainability. Dharma inherently means sustainability. So when be it Sri Ram or Sri Krishna, they're making decisions, the larger focus is it going to allow sustainability of that system that they are a part of? Or is it going to harm the system that they are part of? How you express is your antargat svabhava. It doesn't matter. Be natural. Be natural. That will always be easier, right, for us to think about other things.
Thank you, ma'am.
Hello, ma'am. You are very established in your own fields. I believe that a woman inspires a woman to work hard. My question is to Priyam, ma'am. Ma'am, a woman fears to get into politics. She thinks twice before getting into it. But what inspired you to get into politics and become a political strategist?
If you are not in the system, you have no right to complain. So the only way to change the system is to be inside it, get to the top, and then make the change. So it's the same thing. If you fall in love with what you do, so here you're falling in love with your country, you're falling in love with some ideologies. If you love it like crazy, you're going to get the strength and the shakti to do whatever you need to do. So don't be afraid and just keep walking on that path.
Thank you.
Hello. Thanks to Dr. Swati for making us believe and attend such a wonderful session with the women power. And today I'm expressing something, there is no question. And I express my thanks and extend my thanks to Shefali madam, how she has affected my life. So one day I was so much disturbed with this male power. I thought this is the society of male and more male dominant power. Also, I was so disturbed. That day I watched your movie, this Dr. G. And the way you have managed this male society, my all depression gone. And that day I was thinking, I have to meet you. that day I was thinking, I will meet you. And then I saw this booklet. Oh my God, I have to express you that how you have affected my life. And everyone should watch that movie. really you have saved me from that sinking and going to depression. And that day, and I'm expressing this thing in front of everyone. So, and every lady should watch that movie, how you have changed that thing. Thank you very much, madam.
So on that wonderful note, that women are empowered, they can make the change. And for that change, we'll change the boys, we'll raise the boys in the manner that they respect their wife, their daughter, their sister. And somewhere I believe that society has changed. It's continuing to change, and somewhere all the barriers, they are existent, but for you it will become non-existent if you know your power and your strength. On that note, we'll wind up the session. Thank you so much for being such wonderful audience, and thank you for.
Hi, guys. I know we're talking about women empowerment. There's something that I really, really want to say, and I say this all the time. It's great. I mean, like Sir said, 50% of our population is women. And it's only going to make us stronger when they're stronger. But to pick a sword against every guy is really ridiculous. So I completely get feminism and women empowerment, but we have to understand feminism is about equality. It's not about one-upmanship. And you really have to pick your battles. Because if you start picking every small thing to fight about, then nobody's going to take you seriously. So you've got to really pick your battles. You can't be tom-tomming about hum women hai, jhanda gaadenge types. Matlab, understand, and there's respect, but it is mutual respect. It's not a one-sided street. So yeah, I just had to say it. So guys, we love you. Just saying.
Thank you so much.
Outsiders, and there's lot talk about nepotism. So what is your advice for someone who is outsider and who wants to be the part of the industry?
Well, honestly, there is no rule book. I wish there was, but there is no instruction manual that comes with it. I do have a point of view on nepotism, though. My doctor, my dermat, very, very senior doctor. He used to be a colleague of my mother, so you can imagine. I mean, a very senior doctor. I recently went to his clinic, and his son and his daughter-in-law are dermats and cosmetologists, and they are practicing at the same clinic with him. So does that make it nepotism? No, it doesn't. If you have a bookshop, you want to give it to your child. He wants to carry it forward, doesn't want to carry it forward, does it well, doesn't do it well. Well, is that nepotism? No, it's not. Whatever we parents achieve in our life, we are actually somewhere deeply working towards what we can give to our children. So why not? After the first chance, then it's Ram Bharose, where it's up to the person. So I don't really believe in this whole term of nepotism, okay? And how do you just keep working. I came from outside. It took me actually so many years to establish myself. I got appreciation, but it never translated into the kind of work I wanted to do. To think of it, I've actually done more waiting than working in my career. I've just waited. And the last 2 years have changed it around for me. But I just kept at it. I kept at my gut and my instinct. There were a lot of decisions which may have not been right professionally, but they suited me. And at least I'm answerable to myself. So you just got to keep at it. And there's no option to hard work. And there's no option to learning. You just keep learning all the time. The day I feel that I know it, I think that would be the end of it.
This was such a beautiful frame that I didn't want to say cut, but I'm sorry, ma'am, we have to because of the time. But it will be really great injustice if we, two wonderful women who have written these great books, and they've collected all the treasures like facts, wisdom, knowledge about Bharat and India. I will ask one of the students to bring all those 3 books up here and they can showcase them, please. The name of the books are Ramayana Unraveled and Mahabharata Unraveled by Ami Ganatra, and The Nation to Protect by Priyam Gandhi Modi. Let's have a loud cheers for them. We'll take 2 more minutes, ma'am. Just to concise the session, I would like to say, कौन कहता है आसमां में सुराख नहीं हो सकता? एक पत्थर तो तबीयत से उछाल के देखो यारो. They have done that, and to felicitate them, I would like to invite Dr. Satish Mood to felicitate Shefali Shah. Please, sir. I would like to ask Dr. Sachin Deshmukh sir to felicitate Priyam Gandhi Modi. I would like to invite Dr. Nisha Pandey to felicitate Sri Ami Ganatra. निशा जी आपको अमित जी को देना है. Before we end this session, let me just tell you, like in any movie, there is a trailer. I just want to give you a trailer for the next session. There was one of the most wonderful lawyer, I think one of the most courageous heroes in the history of Maharashtra, and somebody has portrayed it in somebody has portrayed that hero in a most wonderful manner. Everybody knows movie Tanhaji. The director is here, and we are going to meet and have a conversation with them. We are really proud of our people, for the people who work in armed forces, but we are equally proud of and we are thankful to the people who work in intelligence. Anybody who heard about Mission Majnu? Yes. The director is here. We'll meet them soon. Please be present. There is a small break and come back. We'll be having a wonderful session again. Thank you.
वहाँ पे. Everyone settle down. We are starting with the next session. So बुला लो. जो बाहर बाकी टीम है उनको भी बुलाओ. सबको बुला लो जो भी खा पी रहा है. संदीप पाटिल जी से बात करो. इसी में से मेरे फ़ोन से करो. 261706. संदीप पाटिल जी. अनंत कुमार जी का शॉट क्या होना है?
Ma'am, Sagar, speak.
अरे स्पीकर ऑन है.
Ma'am, Sagar.
बोलो. बोलो. बोलो सागर. नहीं बोल रहे तुम. अब बाहर जाके बात करो. Everyone come out here. Fill in these rows. Leave the back rows empty. Move, please. Last benchers come to the first. We'll have good photograph click for you. Everyone, give a warm welcome to our panelists. So the next panel is content the new star of cinema? When we are talking about cinema, we are always talking about story and content, and today it is playing a relevant part, and that is why this session is very, very special. For the session, so I would introduce our first guest, Mr. Om Raut. Om Raut is an Indian film writer and director. After completing his bachelor's in electronic engineering from Mumbai, he did his master's in cinema from prestigious Syracuse University in New York, United States. He made his directorial debut film Lokman Ek Yug Purush in the year 2015. for which he received numerous awards including Filmfare for Best Debutant Director. The film was the official selection in the Indian Panorama section of the International Film Festival of India, Goa 2014. The film was also the official selection at 17th London Asian Film Festival 2015. In the year 2016, Omji conceived and directed a light and sound show based on freedom fighter Vinayak Damodar Savarkar's fight for the independence of India at Swatantra Veer Savarkar Rashtriya Samarak, Mumbai. The show is India's biggest permanent 3D wall mapping project. We welcome you, Omji. Our next guest is Mr. Shantanu Bagchi. He is one of India's best-known art film directors. He has made feature debut in January this year with Mission Majnu, which premiered on Netflix and stars Siddharth Malhotra and Rashmika Mandanna. The film remained in the #1 position in 10 countries for the first 10 days and is currently the second most viewed film in the world on Netflix. Genre agnostic, Shantanu loves commercial cinema that focuses on great storytelling with a big heart. Give a warm welcome to Shantanu. Our next speaker and the moderator of the session is Mr. Zankrut Oza. He's also the founding member of Litlati Fest. Zankrut Oza is a speaker and social media trainer for businesses and government. He has been the recipient of several awards for his work in the field of marketing and communication. Zankrut Oza is a digital media strategist and a PR consultant. He's currently working as director, client servicing at ANG Creations. He has done his MBA from Ulna State University and is an alumnus of IIM Indore. He has led the communication team for various ministries and worked with the Office of Honorable Minister Piyush Goyal. His work has always been at the intersection of digital communication, that is e-governance, politics, education, and entrepreneurship. He is a US Professional Fellow for Governance and Society, South and Central Asia. Beyond work, he spends his time with ecosystem building activities for youth in politics, literature, and entrepreneurship. Over to you, Zankrut, now.
Thank you so much for such a great introduction. Today, the panelists we have, they are known for making movies on real-life warriors. One has made biopics. I'm already blamed by him that I'm terming him a biopic hero. Second one has bringing stories which are unknown to us. They both have done some phenomenal work. We have loved them on screen, their work on screen. And day and day going, we are awaiting for the mega movie which is coming. I will start with Om Rauji. Do you have any particular liking for making biographies? You choose solid characters, whether it was your first Marathi movie or whether it was the second one and your first one in Bollywood and the upcoming one. You take strong warrior, you narrate them on mega screen and make them larger than life.
Do I have a liking, if that's the question? I think I'm a fanboy. I'm 100%.
So we are of yours.
You're kind. I'm extremely a fanboy, and I do get inspired a lot with history. Incidentally, all the 3 films that I've done, I mean the third one that I'm working on, are based on characters in the history. I feel that the great Indian history is something that all of us need to be proud of. I mean, the way we can use our history, and I use the word carefully use, the way we can use our history is to kind of take inspiration from it in one way and also learn from it in such a way that we can feel proud about what we've done. We can feel proud about who we are. And everybody has their own tools to kind of, do work in their lives, right? So my tool is cinema. And see, at the end of the day, this entire activity is a nation building activity. Everybody's trying to do some contribution in their way or the other. I mean, if you can take the great example of the Setu that was built from Dhanushakodi to Lanka, everybody contributed in their own way. And the squirrel, she also contributed in her own way, right? So I feel it's the act of contributing into the nation building. My stream of work, my my domain remains cinema. And with that, I will try to create my little contribution into the nation building. वो कहते हैं ना कि कोई महापुरुष ने कहा है कि अफसोस है मुझे इस बात का कि आज़ादी के जंग में हम देश के लिए जान नहीं दे सके, बट आने वाले कल में हम देश के लिए जी तो सकते हैं, right? So I think that is the line that we should all be working on, and that's the way I would like to live, and take inspirations from the characters, take inspirations from the people of our country in the past, take inspirations from the incidences that have happened, the great things that have happened, and try to move forward.
Next we have is Shantanu Bakshi ji. Sir, everyone must have at least watched hundreds of ad films he created for various brands, and majorly all of them were successful in capturing the imagination of the audience. From creating those short ad films, when there was no era of even short films, or those ad films, to creating a major movie, and that also on an unheard topic of raw and intelligence guys. What was the journey and what was the thought behind it? I'm talking about the mission. For the unversed ones, I'm talking about the movie Mission Majnu. It's there on Netflix.
Well, what I was doing is primarily film. And one of the change that, if I really bring it down to brass tacks, so it's primarily you are handling a 30-second or a 60-second commercial as opposed to a 2-hour movie. So all the ingredients that you require, all of them are there when you are making a commercial. You need to plan, you need to go through the script and stuff like that. But of course, it's a very short thing. We need to communicate, and we need to do something where people will not switch off to other stuff, right? So you have to hold the attention, which is also the case when you are making a big movie. You don't want your audience to fall off, right? You want the audience to be engaged. So in a way, there are a lot of similarities, but to tell a story over a stretch of time requires certain tools, certain ways that you can devise. And once you understand that, then it is not really such a big jump, okay? So scale it becomes larger, okay? That's what it is.
So the topic is about content, and long back Bill Gates said that content is the king. And I don't know how our cinema didn't understood it till so long. It's ironical, but yes, with the time passing and the OTT culture, we are getting some solid content, the one which we can appreciate, and which is a very thorough thought inside it. I would really like to understand from both of you, starting with Omrao ji, that how do you go about research of a movie, and especially when you are talking about someone who is so popular in the history, and people like literally live their legends, then how do you go about their research? How do you decide that what kind of content and what part of content you want to take from their lives and showcase it to the big screen?
See, it's a very interesting question, and to be honest with you, there is no answer to it. So I'll tell you what, when you're making, I mean, this is with the experience that I've had. Every time when you kind of make a film on an historical event or a historical personality, you always feel that, you know, there are some, you know, say for example, there are about 10 incidences in their life, in their charitra, and you end up choosing 4 of them because you have to end up putting it into a 2-hour, 2.5-hour long film, right? So you always the episodes that you let go are always the more interesting ones. That's the thumb rule. So when you're sitting on a paper and you're trying to figure out that this is what you're going to do, hey, you know what? The things that you've actually let go are always the interesting ones, and that's the reality of life. Correct? Then the way I approach it is I always say that I'm going to make a 101. I mean, if there are engineering students, I'm an engineer. I try to make phonetic, right? I try to make I'm sorry, sir, Satish is here. I try to make the guide. I try to make the most expected questions, the 101, right? And for the rest of the research, there are other great material that people could read. So I'm only making the the tip of the iceberg accessible to people, and the entire iceberg is something for them to go and find out. When you talk about the research, I think the research kind of goes across different subjects. It goes in a different way. For example, when we talk about Narveer Subedhar Tanaji Rao Malusare, there is only one small paragraph in the textbooks that we had when I studied in Maharashtra. So we had only such a small section of his. But to kind of make an entire feature on it, there are some research material that is available. There is some research material, say for example, some books that are actually challenged, correct, when it comes to him or any other personality, because there is a controversy at that level also. Of course, it's not blown up to the extent that a feature film gets a controversy, but there are controversial elements which you may want to kind of consider. So it's all about trying to sitting down and reading and interviewing people. I personally believe in visiting the sites. I personally go to the places where these great personalities went and whatever happened. You stand there and there is some air which kind of starts talking to you and you start feeling it a little better. So I do believe in traveling and going to the places. Well, so many. I mean,
They would love to visit.
well, it depends. I mean, Adipurush, I'm not going to tell you. You should see the film and then come and ask me. Or you
No,
call me
Tanaji.
again. Tanaji, so many forts. Chhatrapati Shivaji Raje's so many forts. Be it the Rajgarh, be it Sinhagad, correct, which is Kundana at that time, but Sinhagad, even Umrat, the village of Tanaji Rao Malusare. The entire journey between Umrat to Sinhagad. That's also a very interesting journey. So many things like that. And if you can visit them, that is great. Rajgarh is an extremely difficult fort to climb. But once you climb at a point, you cannot really go to the Bale Killa, the fort within the fort, because it's extremely difficult. What had happened, unfortunately, is when the British came into they got the control of the fort, they were afraid that the Indians will retaliate. So they very famously say in Marathi कि जो गढ़ की जो तोप थी वो तोप सब उल्टी घुमाई गई और उन्होंने हमारे जो भी गढ़ थे उनको destroy करने की कोशिश की. The guns were pointed backwards toward the Bale Killa. So the access which was there at that time is actually completely destroyed. Correct. So now the access that is there is a very difficult climb which they were not aware of. So things like that. I mean, you get beaten up internally, but you also get a great inspiration about how great our Indian history is. I mean, just to stand there on that fort and just to see the magnanimity and the scale and size of it, you can just imagine how great it must be. I mean, I don't know if you guys have been to Raigad. I mean, trekkers must have been, but if you go to Raigad, trekkers need not go only because there's a ropeway that goes up, right? So if you go there, they say that when the coronation had happened, a lot of Britishers, a lot of French, Portuguese delegates had come from other states of India also, the provinces at that time, there were no states. So when they came there, they saw that there were elephants on top of the fort, right? So everybody was confused that how come there are so many big elephants on top of Raigad, and nobody could gather it. They all asked him a question that how did you get such big elephants up there? It's very difficult for even the horses to climb. How did you do that? And he obviously did not say anything, but we know later that nobody really understood that he brought the baby elephants on top and let them grow because Raigad was built for 8 years, right? So by the time it was happening, the elephants became bigger and it was a great this thing. So things like that, when you actually see them, it's a great inspiration that you get.
So Shantnuji, like Umrat, I'm pretty sure you might not have visited Pakistan or Afghanistan.
We hope so.
Claiming Quetta or Lahore would be much more fun than talking about it. But not going into there, taking a story from someone which is very much in a story format, and from making this small ad films to making a feature film wherein I don't know how much incidences you might have received from someone. So how did this content from somebody's, like what was the process? Like what is the whole incident? That somebody came to you and narrated the story where you send some small parcel in a box at your home that okay, इस पे movie बनानी है maybe by our NSA or somebody. Is it like something different which we don't know?
Okay, I assure you it was not such a wonderfully mysterious stuff. Okay.
Tell us the real reason,
It
sir.
was very bland. Uh,
He's not telling us the truth. There's something to it.
Because I was going through a lot of scripts and I'm not liking any one of them. And then suddenly this script comes my way. Okay.
From where, sir? That's what we all want to know.
Yeah, yeah. So my producers, they have figured this thing out and they were looking for a director and it came to me. And I read the script and I thought that it has some merits and so I went into it. So it's not a secret raw envelope that is tucked in at 2 o'clock at night under my blanket. So it's nothing interesting. So it came the way, but of course, then we had to do a lot of research because it's a period piece, and in any period piece, you will do a research. So we did a lot of research, which is a normal research, visual research for the film, which is required, and we tried to match those visuals in terms of the architecture, the clothes, the kind of things they used to use at that point in time, weapons, jets, everything. So,
In this whole process, did you met any intelligence officer or officers to understand that how do they operate, and if you can tell any story if there is?
हाँ ज़रूर हमने कुछ ऑफिसर्स को मीट किए हैं. We took a lot of stories from there. Obviously, one of the famous guys is Mr. Ajit Doval, and his stories are very, very inspiring. And there was a lot of stuff that we got inspired from Ajit's incidents there. His stay, how he got identified once. ज़्यादातर लोग को पता नहीं है, लेकिन वो जब ही एज ए स्पाई पाकिस्तान में रह रहे थे, तो he was speaking the dialect. He was completely dressed like that, and then he went to masjid, and one of the Muslim guys told him कि आप मेरा साथ आइए थोड़ा, और उसको बाजू में लेके गए और बोले कि आप तो आपको लगता नहीं है कि आप मुसलमान हैं. तो अजीत डोभाल जी सोचे कि मैं तो एकदम परफेक्ट हूँ, हर एक तरीके से मैं स्पाई हूँ. तो उन्होंने घर में उनका कोई कमरे में लेके गए, बंद कर दिए और बोले कि पर आपको कैसे पता चला कि हम मुसलमान नहीं हैं. बोला आपका कान में एक छेद है और वो कभी मुस्लिम लोगों का होते नहीं है, तो आप हिंदू हैं. और मज़े की बात ये है कि मैं भी हिंदू हूँ. ओके. तो उन्होंने ऐसा एक अलमारी खोले, तो उसमें शिव जी का कुछ मूर्तियाँ थे. तो बोला कि देखिए मैं भी हिंदू हूँ, लेकिन मैं बाहर जब भी जाता हूँ तभी ऐसा ही लिबास पहन के जाता हूँ कि लोग सोचे कि मैं मुसलमान हूँ. So this is an interesting story that how a person has to melt into this thing. And Siddharth Malhotra being a very handsome person, and he has I have given him strange things to wear from lungi. Okay. तो that man was horrified कि क्या कर रहे हैं, but according to the character वो उनको पहनना पड़ा, and वो concept का साथ चले गए, तो वो अच्छी बात है. but हमारा कोशिश ये था कि जैसे हमने interact किया है कि वहाँ पे जो रहता है वो घुल मिल जाते हैं, वो उसके लिए all those things are actually inspired by people who are right now there in Pakistan, and there are a lot of them, okay, and you cannot identify them. Even if you go from there, you will never know. Okay.
That's something out of imagination kind of service those people are doing for the nation. And while sitting here in this AC room, we can't even imagine what kind of difficulties they might be facing in their day-to-day lives. coming to you, Omraoji, making such fantastic movies, giving glory to again to those glorious heroes of our history is amazing. But then these are also challenging things, and I think everybody present on social media must be aware that then there are trolls and they become vicious. Then there are some and where there is something like which might make you take a step back because of the controversies it can create. Recently, for your upcoming movie, there has been a lot of controversies related to what is happening to the characters and how they are looking on screen in the trailer. How are you dealing with those things, and what kind of things which we should imagine from now onwards, that what will be there in the movie?
See, it's a good question. I mean, this is something that I've been itching to speak about. So we all know about the controversies that are happening for Adipurush and what have happened in the past. So that it can be divided into two parts. There is one set of comments. There is one set of like the suggestions that people have given, which are extremely interesting. Correct. They are something which are very nice. They are something which we've made a very serious note of. And there is this other set of trolling is what is kind of spoken about in today's time and age. That trolling is something which is quite boring. I mean, I don't really pay much attention to trolling because it's like it's very simple to kind of come out on an invisible platform and come and start bitching about somebody, because there is this type of hatred that is there. So trolling something which is completely something that I discount. But when it comes to the logical points, it's only right for one to kind of hear them and reflect on them in order to make it right. Correct. I mean, as I've always said, cinema is not one person's art. I mean, you always see the director at the top of the pyramid, and there's something that only I am seen speaking to the world. But it's honestly, it's not one man's art. It's not painting where I sit at home and paint, or it's not a poetry which I sit and write and then it's mine. Cinema is a collective art. Correct. There are so many people who are involved into a film, and all of them and their art and their hard work and their time and their sweat, their efforts, they all come together to make one feature film. It's not just the actors, it's not just the technicians, it's also the the smallest member of our team who's probably doing the smaller. It's also everybody's hard work that brings in. So, but as a captain, you're responsible for everything, right? As a captain, you're only looking at the team who's a few thousands for a large film like Adipurush, and you're responsible for their efforts. So what do you do in this case? So you kind of come out and make sure that a film like this, and especially a film like Adipurush, which I honestly feel is not just our film, it's everybody's film. It's a film that makes our nation proud. It's the subject, it's the story, it's the part or the page of our history that our nation is extremely proud of. I'm playing with a line, Ab Vishwa mein dekhenge Bharat ki kahani. Now the world will see India's story. I'm not saying Indian story, I'm saying India's story, because this is a history that we are extremely proud of. Correct. When I say that, I would also want to say that this is a mission that we've set out ourselves on in order to make this right, in order to make Adipurush accessible to the next generation. As I've said before, I'm only making the 101. I'm only giving you the tip of the iceberg. In a 2.5-hour long film, how much will you actually talk about Ramayana? And how much will you actually understand as a filmmaker? You read Ramayana, you read the Gita, and at every different stages of your life, you understand it differently. At every different age group, at a different mental state, you understand it differently. He's Maryada Purushottam. He's much bigger than what I can ever imagine. Correct? It will take few lifetimes for all of us to actually understand what is Maryada Purushottam. So what do you do in that case? You take one particular aspect of his life. In Adipurush, we have taken the Paramveer aspect, the Parakrami Ram, and tried to showcase the Parakrami Ram's Veeragatha. सूर्यवंशी है, क्षत्रिय है, योद्धा तो है ही है, और जब रणभूमि में उतरेगा तो उस तरह से क्रोधित आंखें भी जरूर होनी चाहिए, क्योंकि हमें भूलना नहीं चाहिए, क्योंकि ये ऐसी व्यक्ति है, ये ऐसा प्रभु राम, ये चरित्र ऐसा है कि जिसमें इंसान के, मनुष्य के सारे गुण समाविष्ट है. तो ये सब गुणों में एक पराक्रम, ये बहुत बड़ा गुण है, वो भी उनके अंदर समाविष्ट है, और वो पराक्रमी राम दिखाने की हम कोशिश कर रहे हैं। अब ये करते वक्त, while we are doing this, there are people who probably have a particular image that has kind of come to them, you know. I mean, people have seen Ramanand Sagar sir's Ramayana on television, and that is an image that is engraved into their minds. But I am saying that when today's generation, I mean, this youth who's sitting in front of us, if they're consuming Marvel films, right? I'm sure you guys are consuming a lot of Marvel films. You're consuming a lot of DC films. The language of cinema has changed. The language of representation has changed. I'm not saying I'm westernizing our great history. Not at all. That's not the idea. But one needs to talk to them in their language. हमें करना क्या है? हमें रामायण अगली जनरेशन तक और हमारे विश्व के सारे जो यूथ है उनकी तरफ ले जानी है. अगर हमको उनके साथ में रहेंगे तो वो जीती रहेगी. सालों साल रामायण के पाठ होते ही आ रहे हैं. रामलीला ये ऐसी चीज है जो मुझे नहीं लगता कि विश्व में कोई दूसरे देश में इतने सालों तक ऐसी कोई एपिक है जो इतनी बार दिखाते आए हैं, इतनी बार लोग देख रहे हैं और आगे आने वाले कई वर्षों तक देखते रहेंगे. इट इज इमॉर्टल. हम ये, एज आई हैव ऑलवेज सेड, यू नो, टू माय टीम आल्सो, दैट दिस इज अ बस. ये बस चल रही है और ये सालों से चलती आ रही है और ये अगले कई साल आगे चलती रहेगी. हम बस आज ये बस में यहाँ पे चढ़ रहे हैं. जब हमारा स्टॉप आएगा तो हम वहाँ से उतर जाएंगे और दूसरा कोई इसमें चढ़ेगा. ये जो कारवां है, ये जो रामायण का जो representation है, ये सालों साल चलते ही रहेगा. We are just a very small part of it.
One very interesting point, for this many decades, I will say, if you see, especially, I'm not criticizing them, I'm no one to criticize, but if you see all the Indian Bhagwans, भारतीय भगवानों को अगर आप देखा जाए, especially जिन्होंने मनुष्य रूपी शरीर में आए और उन्होंने चाहे वो भगवान राम हो, चाहे वो लक्ष्मण जी हो, पुराने अगर उनको देखोगे तो they are very lean, thin and those kinds. It is sometimes logically it is unbelievable to understand that somebody who is staying for 14 years into a forest, somebody previously who's also trained into all kinds of arms and warfare, how can be this so lean and thin and somebody very sweetie look type guys, somebody very chocolatey looking type of guys? They must be very muscular, gigantic, and somebody who can destroy an enemy in a given second. And till now, looking them in a very feeble form of visualization has somewhere hurted the larger majority of this country. And now they are feeling and they're taking proud. If we, just one instance, in Delhi NCR region, people have started sticking that Hanumanji's face and on back of their cars, which is very masculine and very powerful looking, a superhero, the real OG of superhero, I will say. So that's kind of visualization I think the newer generation want to see. They have this faith, belief that yes, our superheroes were way much bigger than what we see on Marvel and DC. I hope that becomes true soon.
Well, that's the thing, right? I mean, you've said it right. I mean, I do believe that, but it's also about the imagination, right? I mean, when we talk about Hanumanji or Ram Bhagwan, there was a particular image that was given to us back in the days. Today's artist, you know, incidentally, it's me and my team at this point. We are trying to showcase the image in a particular way today. Tomorrow, something else will happen. But as long as the heart is in the right place, you don't really need to worry about. I mean, before I started Adipurush, so many people asked me that, are you not afraid to do something like this, right? And I said that, when better time than now? अगर आज नहीं कर सके तो हम कभी नहीं कर पाएंगे. Today is the best time to do it, right? Because there were so many, generations before who tried to make a film on Ramayana. They were not successful for obvious reasons. This is the perfect time for us to make it, and this is the chance that we have, correct? And as I've always said, that this is the right time for us to make cinema in a right way. But there is this crazy, I mean, you must be knowing it, that they've been telling me about, how come ये रावण की दाढ़ी लगा ली आपने, रावण को मूछे कैसे नहीं है और दाढ़ी कैसे आ गई, सो रावण गोरा कैसे दिखने लग गया. अभी अचानक रावण के फैन बन गए यार. ये रावण के फैन कहाँ से आ गए? मतलब अगर रावण के इतने फैंस थे तो हम सालों से जब रावण का दहन करते आ रहे हैं रामलीला में, वो क्यों होता था? अच्छा चलो ठीक है, वो भी हमारी प्रथा हम समझ सकते हैं। आप अगर इतने रावण के फैंस थे, आप शायद वो रामलीला में नहीं जाते होगे, आप बहुत बड़े रावण के फैन थे, तो आई हैवंट हर्ड सर एनीबडी हु हैज नेम्ड देयर चिल्ड्रन रावण, राइट? किसी ने अपने बच्चों का नाम रावण नहीं रखा, क्यों नहीं रखा? मैंने तो कभी सुना नहीं. So where have these Ravan fans come from? I don't understand. If a demonic figure for back in the days had a mustache, that was the imagination of the artist then, कि भाई बड़े बड़े मूछों वाला, लंबे लंबे बालों वाला, ये हमारा डीमन रावण विलन ऐसे होता है. आज के ज़माने में मैंने अगर विलन को दाढ़ी लगा ली, लोग मेरे को बोल रहे हैं अलाउद्दीन खिलजी जैसे दिखता है. मैं बोल रहा हूँ कि यार अलाउद्दीन खिलजी हीरो है कि विलन है? विलन ही तो है ना, करेक्ट? सो उसमें प्रॉब्लम कौन सी है? So I don't understand. So now this is that trolling part that comes in, which I don't really play much this thing to. Does that answer your question? Yeah. Maybe it does. I speak a lot, guys. So you can stop me whenever you want.
So Shantanu ji, first of all, congratulations that I think almost 20 million people, 20 million hours have been watched on Netflix for your movie. It's a great success. You have been a very successful ad filmmaker. Now first stroke, and you have made a successful movie. What are your next plans? So like, are you again looking to go for an action movie, or what is your plan?
Well, I'm looking at a different kind of stuff, different kind of stories, but I have not really frozen on anything. But I'm looking for the right stuff. So it will be too early to tell you anything about that. Right.
On this stage, many politicians, many academicians, even one astrologer, they all have disclosed their plans at least once, and they have been successful till the date. If you can tell maybe some hint about what's coming up next.
I really cannot tell you right now because I don't know myself that which way I would go. So that's
waiting for another midnight parcel to come.
Yeah, something should excite you, I mean, before you say yes. Okay. Right.
So there's been a lot of talk about content, and now the way filmmaking content has changed with OTT, where there is almost no censor board there, and you can showcase what a filmmaker can put his or her heart in it. How are you looking at this change, and where it will go from here?
See, basically, content is definitely the king and most important thing, because you can have great actors, you can have lavish sets, you can have great visuals, but if your audience is not engaged with the story, okay, उन लोग को अगर story खींचता नहीं है और पसंद नहीं आते हैं, तो ये हर एक चीज़ जो है वो फेल हो जाएगा, correct? Because ultimately you are going for a story. Of course you would like to see your favorite actor there or actresses, but अगर story नहीं है तो आप कुछ कर नहीं पाएंगे. तो this was always the case. If you look at Indian cinema, that all the great movies that one has made, a dent, are always based on a good story. So now, because we have social media, OTT platforms, audience is getting exposed to international content, okay? Stories told by amazing directors, amazing screenwriters. So the bar is going up, okay? Which is a wonderful thing, because then it becomes far more difficult for a person, okay, to work, and they have to reach that bar. Otherwise, they will be rejected. The viewing will not happen. As simple as that. And people will go off to another this thing. So the engrossing story, beautifully told, is something which is needed today. And we have to match with the international standards of some great stuff. So which is a wonderful news because more good stuff will come from India.
Absolutely. The Magnificent Warriors we had. There is so much more to explore with Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav and 75 years of Indian independence. Are, are we looking at such more movies to come up? Because audience is craving for it. They want to know the unknown heroes. They want to like there's huge buzz about right now about Lachit Borphukan coming from Assam, the one who had fought the great battle of Saraighat. So these are the kind of heroes people nationally want to know about because they are limited to some particular region. It was like people in northern part of India or northeast, they were amazed when Tanaji came out because they certainly wouldn't have even heard about his name.
See, incidentally, Lachit Borphukan ji, the greatest warrior, is known as Chhatrapati Shivaji Raje of Northeast. So that's a subject which is very interesting subject. You mentioned
This
a
was
nice
just
subject.
example.
No, it's something I spoke about last night actually.
No, no, of course, of course. See, basically, if you have a very, very nice story and बहुत सारा कंटेंट ऐसे भी है जो आप पूरा फिल्म देख लेते हैं लेकिन आप कुछ फील ही नहीं करते okay and lot of people, I mean I'm sure lot of people in this room एक पिक्चर देखें तो उनका कुछ फीलिंग ही नहीं हुआ बहुत बड़ा बड़ा एक्शन सीक्वेंस है बहुत कुछ है उसमें बहुत हाई बजट फिल्म भी है बट कुछ फील नहीं हुआ तो इसका मतलब ये हुआ कि आपको कहीं पे वो जो कंटेंट था कनेक्ट नहीं किया तो ये बहुत ज़रूरी होता है कि अगर स्टोरी अच्छी है तो वो कनेक्शन ऑडियंस से बनती है और ऑडियंस इमोशनल हो जाते हैं अगर वो इमोशनल होते हैं तो देन द कंटेंट इज़ गुड because something has clicked with this thing. So when you talk about this unknown, unsung heroes, so there is already a patriotic connection with the audience, which is very strong. And then if you can tell the story, well, so it will have a tremendous kind of emotion, inspiration from those stories. So those stories are very interesting stories to be told. And I'm sure that in coming years, more stuff will come from that zone. Yeah.
Last question from my side to both of you. I hope you would be as brutally honest as you were till now. Your favorite actor whom you have not casted yet? Even actress?
I'll have to think. I don't have to lie or I don't have to hide. But there are so many of them. I mean, if I have to pick one, it's very difficult.
Okay, if I have to compare whom you like most, Ajay Devgan or the recent one, Anadi Purush?
No, this is a wrong question to answer.
Directors go very diplomatic.
No.
Ask
So
such
here's
tricky questions.
it depends, right? To be honest with you, I'm not being politically correct, but this is a reality. It depends on which part you're working with. You see, I'm a guy who falls in love with my characters. Correct. I'm a huge fan of the actors that I'm working with, be it Mr. Devgan or be it Prabhas or be it Saif. I'm a huge fan of all the three of them. At the same time, of their actings and the parts that they've played on the silver screen. But I'm a bigger fan of the characters that I'm in love with. So when it comes to Raghav, it is always Prabhas, and when it comes to Subedar Tanaji Malusare, I don't think anybody else but Mr. Devgan could actually do it.
And you made hundreds of ad films. One actor who really lived the brand.
Okay, see, thing is that to answer your question, is the truthful answer is that there is no one person who is my favorite actor, but it depends on what role he is to play. Okay, so as he has said, that a certain character would be great for a certain role, might not be great for the other role. So as a director, you don't have a preference that this is the actor I love. You will love that actor in a specific role which is on context to that role. Correct. So when you see Tanaji, he fits the role, right? So you know that he is perfect. And when one is doing some other film where the character is different, that actor will fit the role. So there is no specific thing that, you know, I love this thing. There are, as he has said, there are so many great actors in our country. Okay, you can start from, Paresh Rawal. Okay, and you can continue the list of this thing, Anupam Kher, um, uh, you know, so many of them is there. You know, Manoj
The
Bajpayee.
list is endless.
Yeah, endless.
It's just.
It all depends on when you are thinking about a certain character, and for that character who works.
I think I have asked enough questions, and we can keep.
They're all hungry, I can tell.
So, if there are any questions for both of them, one can raise hands and start.
Yes, sir.
Sir, the question is for Om sir. I think I've lost the count, for the number of times I've seen Danaji.
Oh, really?
And I have, I've never, I have seen each and every cricket match in my life. ऐसा कोई मैच नहीं मैंने देखा नहीं. But when it comes, for a choice, एक तरफ मैच चल रहा है, दूसरी तरफ तानाजी चल रहा है, I've gone for Tanaji. And I have also gone
Thank
through
you,
some.
sir.
I have also gone through many reviews of public outside Maharashtra, and they were totally unaware about the history of Maharashtra. Tanaji was a very small character as such during Shivaji's time, because proper coverage was not given to him. As you have rightly pointed out, only one paragraph is there a mention about him in the history. Now, my question is, there are many, 2 or 3 films made on Shivaji in Marathi. मला वाटतं चंद्रकांत hero होते शिवाजीच्या film मध्ये. Do you have, such a project on mind, to depict the entire life of Shivaji on the silver screen? And Maharashtra would be really happy for that.
Sir, to see, Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj is a very deep subject. It is very difficult. I mean, it's not that this has not come to me before. It has come to me several times. My dear friend Mr. Ritesh Deshmukh is already working on a subject to kind of showcase few episodes within Raze's life. To be honest with you, it's a very difficult thing for me to kind of do it, because there are so many reasons. To answer your question in nutshell, right now, no. In future, if God gives me the power to do it, I would love to do it. But I feel that there should be so many people who should be doing a film on Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj. Different episodes, different times. It's something that is jitna kare utna kam hai. Correct? So it should not be stuck with one filmmaker. It should be a series, a saga of films that should come, and I think that would be the right way to do it.
Yeah, one more question. I heard that I think you have met the descendants of Tanaji Malusre,
Yes,
and
several
you have
times.
done a lot of research
Yes.
by taking their help.
Yes,
Is it
yes.
true?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, the Malusere family is something. Sheetaltai Marusere, who's a PhD in Subedar's on Subedar's life. She's also a published author, and also the other member of the Malusere family. They are my extended family in a way, because I've spent a lot of time researching with them, and yeah, I mean, so many times I've had the privilege of meeting with them.
Thank you, sir.
Good afternoon, sir. Om sir and Shantanu sir. Sir, yesterday you were at Mumbai University. My friend noticed that you are wearing the same dress as yesterday's.
I always wear the same clothes. You can check all the. I just have the same clothes. I don't change clothes. I have a
Yeah.
particular set of clothes to go to office, and the other set of clothes to wear outside. It
Yeah.
just makes it brainless, right? You don't have to think much.
Sir, so the question was that how are the directors thinking and what is going on in their mind so they don't get to decide their clothes or.
Well, I've made my
They
life
have
very simple.
great
You're
mind,
absolutely
yeah.
correct. I have made my life very simple, right? So I have one stack of clothes which I wear to work, right? If you go and see in my car, there is a change. So the minute I get out of here, I'm going to change my T-shirt and I'm going to change into a T-shirt, and it's my
course.
work clothes. And when I'm in public function, I wear this. And if I have to go for my other life, which is which is not मैं संघ से जुड़ा हूँ तो जो दूसरा मेरा काम होता है उसमें मैं एक अलग टाइप के कपड़े पहनना मेड लाइफ वेरी सिंपल है
Yeah, that
ज़्यादा
makes
कट नहीं
obviously
करने
makes
का
that simple. Okay, sir.
so I end up buying like 20 of these every time or maybe 3-4 of jeans
Okay, sir. Thank you
it
so
just
much,
make it
sir.
simple.
Hello, sir. Am I audible? Hello, hello. Yes. Hello, sir. My question is to Om Raut, sir. Uh, Actually, I call myself a movie buff because I am a movie buff.
So am I.
Yeah. So coming to Tanhaji, I think it was superb. It was super film. I enjoyed it a lot. And I'd like to ask you the technical aspect of the film, where I like the action sequences. I've heard that those were inspired, by real life and kind of real, incidents. So, the warfare
Of
sequences.
Tanaji Maluseri,
Yes,
right?
of,
Yeah, that's okay.
So I would like to know the process that was.
See, so there are some. I understand what you're trying
Yes,
to say.
yes, yes.
Inspired is not the word, because when you say inspired, it has a different connotation to it.
Yes.
But yes, there are so many things that were written about the Subedar's battle on Sinhagad, right? That we tried to kind of take whatever kind of made relevance and whatever kind of was kind of believable, right? And whatever was kind of said. Now, for example, did you grow up in Maharashtra? I grew up in Maharashtra. So if you grew up in Maharashtra, we were all told that he kind of stood at the foot of the fort, and he sent a monitor lizard, जिसे हम घोरपड़ कहते हैं मराठी में. वो monitor lizard को उन्होंने ऊपर भेजा. वो monitor lizard उनकी pet lizard थी. उनके tail पे एक rope tie करी हुई थी और उसके सहारे वो ऊपर चढ़ गए. अब आप monitor lizard की अगर साइज देखें तो ये टेबल है, इससे छोटी होती है, करेक्ट? एंड वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट अ सुबेदार तानाजी राव मालुसरे. He's a 6'2" man, or maybe even more, with the type of armor that he had, the type of shield that he had in his back, more than one swords, correct? There are also references that he had other weapons on him with a small dagger type of a knife, correct? So all of this you put together, right? The weight will be 100% more than 150, 160 kg, maybe even 200 kilograms, with the type of armor that he had on him and the things that he had. Now all of a sudden, if I have to try to make it believable कि वो एक monitor lizard के सहारे ऊपर चढ़ के गए, that is something that doesn't fit into my scientific brain, right? So what did I do? I said that there are so many specially trained Mavadas that we had, who were extremely proficient into climbing very steep mountains. They were very amazing rock climbers. They are amazing this thing. And they were smaller in size. They were a little tinier than Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj or Tanaji Rao Malusare. They were a little tinier. Correct? So what did I do? I kind of brought that simile where he comes to the foothills of the mountain, of the cliff, and he looks up and he realizes it is very difficult to climb. He looks on his shoulder and says, Ghorpade bandhuon ko bulao. Now, Ghorpade is also a last name into Maharashtra, correct? So if somebody tells me that, have you forgotten that there was a Ghorpad which climbed? No, I did not forget, but I don't think it is possible. So what did I do? Yes, there were the Mavadas who were capable of climbing at the top. I named them Ghorpade brothers, and the Ghorpade brothers came and climbed. So things like that, there are everything that is kind of inspired, as you've used the word, from the history, but I've tried to modulate it in some way or the other in order to make it believable in today's time. Does that answer your question?
Yes,
The hand
yes.
cutting, yes, that did happen. He did take out his shela, tried on his hand, kept fighting. In fact, he used his shela to also block Udayban's wars. Correct. So that's all real. That's all had happened. It is all written.
Thank you so much.
Yes, please. Yes, please. Oh, there's one more. Maybe after you. Yeah, ask. Sit down and ask. It's okay. It's not a classroom. You can chill.
So how do you select a subject for a movie and showcase it in a way that it doesn't hurt the sentiments of people, the audience?
Okay, so the idea is to put your heart in the right place, right? I mean, the way you select a subject is you you first want to get inspired yourself, correct? You first need to fall in love with the character. You need to fall in love with the event in the history. And once you are in love with it, there is only your purity comes out in the right way. So you after that point you don't really worry about that will you harm anybody's sentiment. This no, that's not important. What is important is how much you love that particular historical event or the historical personality. And if you love them so much, everything else will fall in right place, and you shouldn't really worry about anything that is possibly could go wrong. Yes, you want to ask? Yes, please. I think they brought the mic there. Maybe her later. You can go first, and then she can go.
Good afternoon, sir.
Hi.
Sir, I was following you since your movie Lokmanya Yug Purush.
Okay.
It was a very great movie, sir. And जब
Thank you.
तानाजी रिलीज हुई थी उस टाइम मैं हैदराबाद में था, बीटेक कर रहा था. So I went to that movie with my friends. Nearly 12 to 13 friends were
3D
there.
में देखा या 2D में देखा?
3D में देखा था, sir.
Very good.
Yeah,
आदि
so-
पुरुष भी 3D में देखना.
Yes, yes, of course. So maximum my friends was from northern part and they were Telugu. तो उनको वो मूवी देख के मीन्स वो बहुत अच्छा लगा उनको मूवी. एंड आपका जो एक मेन रीज़न था मूवी बनाने का कि हिस्ट्री पहुँचे लोगों के पास में पूरे इंटायर इंडिया के. महाराष्ट्र में तो पता ही है सबको हिस्ट्री, हमेशा कंसिडर करके चले. बट वो फ्रेंड्स को भी बहुत अच्छा लगा था मूवी और उन्होंने मुझे बोला था कि यार ये होता है एक स्टफ, अगर कोई दिखाना चाहते हैं कि आप एक अच्छा एक्सपीरियंस भी दे रहे हो और स्टोरी भी डिलीवर कर पा रहे हो अच्छे से. तो बस यही बोलना चाहूँगा सर, एक थैंक यू बोलना चाहता था आपको.
Thanks यार, तेरे
from
दोस्तों
all
को
the
बोलना.
students. Yeah.
प्रभास गारू. प्रभास गारू की फिल्म आ रही है आदि पुरुष, वो उनको वो भी बोलना है और देखने के लिए.
पुरुष के लिए भी आपको ऑल द बेस्ट देना चाहता हूँ.
Thank you, darling.
मैं बिलीव करता हूँ सर आप वो मूवी बहुत अच्छे से डिलीवर कर पाएंगे.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate
Thank
it.
you,
Yes, please.
Hello, sir.
Hi.
So, I want to ask, what are your next project or movie?
यार ऐसे थोड़ी बताऊंगा यार.
No, मतलब ऐसा concept है hint थोड़ा.
बिल्कुल भी नहीं. आपको किधर मिला सोशल मीडिया पे? तो बोलूंगा नहीं इतना जल्दी. देखो क्या क्या ये सर बोल रहे हैं कि उन्होंने अभी तक सोचा नहीं है. मैं बोलूंगा नहीं. मैं ऑनेस्टली बोल रहा हूँ, जो भी है अभी नहीं बोलूंगा. जो भी है आदि पुरुष के बाद ही बताऊंगा.
हिस्ट्री के रिलेटेड होगा कि
जून में बताऊंगा.
थैंक यू.
इतना जल्दी तो नहीं बोल सकते ना यार, कुछ तो बड़ी खबर होनी चाहिए, थोड़ा फटाका फूटना चाहिए, थोड़ा हीरो वीरो का फोटो आना चाहिए, है कि नहीं? ये तो सब्जेक्ट जो चल रहा था वो सब्जेक्ट के ऊपर हमने बात ही नहीं की. सब्जेक्ट क्या था कि इज द स्टोरी द न्यू हीरो और द न्यू स्टार ऑफ इंडियन सिनेमा, करेक्ट? तो मैं तो उसके ऊपर सब अपने जवाब रेडी करके आया था, इन्होंने पूछा ही नहीं मेरे को. Which is absolutely okay. Now I will ask you a question. हाँ ये भी हमको सवाल पूछ रहे थे ना, माइक दे दो उनको. आपने क्या टॉपिक रखा था कि is the content is the new star. हाँ, who was the first star?
Sir, I am a digital native.
चलो भाई आप लोग बता दो who was the first star. ये तो निकल गए, स्मार्ट है ये लोग, ये वो ट्रोल वोल करके निकल जाते हैं साइड से. आप लोग बताओ who is the first star? नो फिल्मों की बात हो रही है यार, आदि पुरुष की बात नहीं हो रही. नो कौन था पहला स्टार? ये जो हम इंडिया का सबसे पहला स्टार कहते हैं राजेश खन्ना को, विश्व का सबसे पहला स्टार कौन था? ये नो सारे शब्द बहुत आग लेटर है. ये जो पहले का पैनल था ना सर, उसमें ये सवाल बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. प्रियम, यू शुड नो दिस. देयर वाज अ लेडी हु वाज द फर्स्ट स्टार. हर नेम वाज फ्लोरेंस लॉरेंस, correct? She was the first star. And you know the reason why the star system was born was to market, and I choose my words very carefully, to market a commodity called cinema, correct? Now, before Florence Lawrence, the names of the characters used to appear on the poster. Correct? Poster में तभी उनके नाम आते थे कि भाई आप कौन सा किरदार कर रहे हो, तो वो किरदार का नाम आता था, कैरेक्टर का नाम आता था. वो जो स्टार प्ले कर रहा है उसका नाम नहीं आता था. इनको ऐसे पता चला. I think this is about she died in 1938, so this must be earlier, maybe 1906 1907 की बात है ये, just before the first great war. तो वो टाइम पे जब इनको रियलाइज हो गया कि यार लोग ना इसको देखने आते हैं, तो जो अगली पिक्चर आई तो उसमें उसका नाम डाला गया कि भाई जो लास्ट पिक्चर में ये थी, जब फोटो नहीं होते थे पोस्टर पे, बिलबोर्ड होता था, इट यूज्ड टू बी ओनली द टेक्स्ट दैट यूज्ड टू कम. करेक्ट? तो तभी उनका नाम था, शी इज द फर्स्ट स्टार. सो आप जो पहले वाला सेशन था आपका वुमन नारी शक्ति वाला, तो वो सेशन में आई थिंक दिस वाज अ मोर रेलेवेंट दिस थिंग, एंड फर्स्ट स्टार ऑफ दिस वर्ल्ड इज अ वुमन. Today is Alia Bhatt. तूने वो तो सवाल पूछे नहीं यार, वो सब होमवर्क उसके पे करके आया था मैं.
Anybody else, or I think we can wrap the session. There's still one more.
और तू हर वक्त लास्ट पूछता है, तू क्या इधर खड़ा होके पूछता है, पहले सेशन में देखा था मैं.
सर मेरा क्वेश्चन था कि जैसे हॉलीवुड में गॉडफादर सीरीज है और बॉलीवुड में गैंग्स ऑफ वसैपुर सीरीज है, तो वैसे आप कुछ गैंगस्टर्स रिलेटेड प्लान कर रहे हैं?
अरे क्या कर रहा है यार, गैंगस्टर वाला इंसान लगता हूँ क्या मैं तेरे को? मैं सिर्फ जूते पहन लेता हूँ या बूट्स पहन लेता हूँ, बाकी तो कुछ लेना. See, I'll tell you what. To be honest with you, the Godfather, when it comes to cinema, is one of the best films that I've ever seen in my life. And I keep talking to my team in the office. It's one of the most, it's an amazing film. Ramu sir made Sarkar Raj, and his trilogy and his tribute to the Godfather. He's already done that. Anurag made Gangs of Wasipur 1 and 2. I personally don't get inspired by the gangster stories to be portrayed so much onto celluloid. Correct? I mean, I'd love to read about it just to get more knowledge and to understand that side of how the underworld actually functioned but I personally feel that this is not the cinema that I would like to make. Unless I get committed to something, I don't think I can live with it for 2-3 years. So मेरे से गैंगस्टर का होगा नहीं यार. तो गैंगस्टर को पकड़ने वाला पुलिस होगा ना, उसकी जरूर कर लूंगा मैं, पर आजकल सारे रोहित बना रहा है तो.
It's time to wind up the session now.
Okay, thank you guys. It was lovely coming here, and thank you for having us.
Thank you guys.
It was such a lovely panel. Okay, take.
हाँ, इनको भूख लगी, आप पूछ लीजिए, हम लोग दवा देते रहेंगे.
Hello. Yeah, you have made many movies and this.
Only 2, ma'am. Third one I'm making right now.
Related to ancient leaders, ancient knowledge, based on
Historical.
ancient knowledge system. Now the modern world is looking for a new leadership. I think we are looking at Modi ji's model of new leadership.
He's my leader for sure.
Yeah. So I will not ask whether you are planning to make any movie like that.
सर मैम बना ली ना मोदी जी के ऊपर पिक्चर अपनी इसने. I haven't seen the film, but I have heard about it.
So we are looking forward that modern leadership where our student can connect and we can think that time has changed and now the new leadership style is required for the student and for all of us, not only for the student. So that's what I think everyone is looking for you to make such kind of movie.
I will try, ma'am. I will try. Sometime, God willing, someday in my life.
A beautiful note. We'll wind up the session.
Yes, please.
Thank you so much.
Thank
for
you, guys.
such a lovely
Lovely
session.
college.
We enjoyed every bit of it. I'll take one more minute. Just one more minute. I'd like to call upon Dr. Satish Moth to felicitate Shantanu ji. Shantanu ji, please. Sir would felicitate. अच्छा सचिन हाँ लेके जाओ सचिन सर Satish, sir. On that note, we'll take a break for lunch for 1 hour and we'll meet back after 1 hour for the next session. Thank you so much. Again, students.